Thank you for coming to speak with me today, Dr. Snow. You understand this will not be an easy interview.
Of course. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm not one for taking the easy route.
Let's start with this then. What is your job at Monster World, in your view?
I do experiments with the monsters. I find practical and meaningful real-world applications for the monsters' abilities and features. I'm one of a very limited number of scientists allowed to work with the monsters directly. Monster World is very concerned about corporate espionage, which I think is more than fair. Everyone is entitled to their secrets.
It's unfortunate for them, then, that many such secrets are now being leaked, isn't it?
It is unfortunate. I think that the leaks have caused quite a stir over what amounts to very little. It was unnecessary. I don't think it's anyone's business what Monster World chooses to do with their assets.
Many believe the leaks paint you in a very bad light, that your work is cruel or even outright sadistic. Do you believe your work is cruel?
I believe my work is necessary. I did not invent animal testing, nor am I its most cruel practitioner. Do I think their suffering is good? No. But I don't believe that it should get in the way of my research. People have an irrational connection to these monsters. They don't whine nearly as much about the suffering of lab rats.
Does that justify your actions?
It demonstrates the hypocrisy of my detractors.
We are here to talk about your actions. Do you think your actions were justified?
Yes. The information the monsters can provide us is invaluable, and every experiment leads to new information. I leave no avenues unexplored.
Ambitious. This may be a sensitive point, but many tie your ambition in the last few years to the loss of your daughter in 2014. Is that accurate?
Partially. I regret that my research couldn't save her, but I've always been devoted to my work.
Some say her passing has also affected your judgment. Is that also accurate?
No. My judgment is fine.
What of the Lake Worth monster incident, then? Did that not demonstrate a lack of judgment on your part?
Monsters are unpredictable, so safety is never fully guaranteed. It should be noted that further testing went without any problems.
What about the human testing? Aren't these tests dangerous for the people involved?
As I said, with monsters, there's always a degree of risk. They're unruly. The people involved in our trial are made aware of the potential risks and given the option to opt out.
There are concerns that Monster World targets desperate or vulnerable people for these experiments. There is evidence in the leaks that supports this.
But I disagree with that framing. People are paid to take part in tests. They decide to take part willingly. Their situations beforehand are not Monster World's responsibility. They choose to take part.
Well, this is what makes the Green Teeth leak so troubling, especially considering Monster World's treatment of employees in the past. Her powers could easily be abused to gain power over individuals, make them agree to things they wouldn't agree to otherwise, could they not?
We have very strict internal guidelines in place to prevent such abuses of power. It should be noted that these matters are completely out of my control.
What do you mean, then, when you refer to the potential internal uses of Green Teeth's powers?
Mostly I meant that she could help deal with other monsters. Monsters can be unruly, after all.
Hello, and welcome back to the Midnight Watch. Today we have before us a mystery involving Monster World, a group of mysterious hackers, and the disappearance of a young journalist. This is the vanishing of Eleanor Carter. On August 10th, 2022, Eleanor Carter didn't show up to work. This was unusual for her, as Eleanor usually arrived on time. 2 days later, she was officially reported missing when a friend went to check on her. They arrived to find her house empty and her car missing. They tried to call her, but got no reply. There was a good reason for this. When the police later investigated Eleanor's home, they discovered that she had left her phone behind. 3 days after her disappearance, her car was found on the side of the road, 41 miles out of Portland, Oregon. where she lived and worked. While searching her apartment, police discovered this mask hidden in her room. It strongly resembles the masks used by the Mouth of the Monsters, a hacker group that targets Monster World. It was immediately suspected that Carter was a member of the group. Indeed, her voice resembled one heard in some of their videos. Perhaps her disappearance had something to do with shady dealings related to the group? Or perhaps Monster World itself was responsible. In addition to her behind-the-scenes work, she also targeted Monster World with her online platform and journalistic career. She publicly criticized the corporation multiple times, dating back to the very beginning of her career. She rose to prominence online while still in college by independently covering numerous controversies involving large corporations. She gained a large following after covering the Ghostland lawsuit in late 2020. This eventually led to an interview between her and Monster World scientist Chris Snow about the Monster World server leaks in early 2022. It should be noted that Monster World was apparently against the interview, but Snow felt that he could steer the interview in a favorable direction due to Carter's lack of experience. Reactions to the interview were mixed, but most agreed that it only served to further damage Monster World's image. Monster World certainly had the motive to want Carter gone, but as it turns out, the connection between Carter and Monster World is far deeper than that. Eleanor Carter was born on June 24, 1999, to Edward and Rebecca Carter. She never got to meet her father, though. See, Edward Carter worked for Monster World. He was apparently a member of the Oregon capture team. Not much is known about how Monster World capture teams operate, however. Indeed, when Edward worked for the company, the park had not even been announced publicly yet. No one in Edward's life even knew what he did for a living, until after his death. Edward Carter died on December 5, 1998, before Eleanor was even born. During a mission, he reportedly shot himself in the foot with a tranquilizer dart and fell into a nearby river. His body wasn't found for several days. Despite the company's denial of responsibility, they offered a sizable payment to Edward's family as a show of goodwill. Rebecca despised Monster World and felt that they were paying her to stay quiet about her husband's death. She spoke out against the company, accusing them of lying about his death to save face. This was largely seen as denial on her part, a result of her being unable to deal with the grief. Rebecca herself went missing in 2002, and a body with her ID on it was discovered just downstream of a local bridge soon after. Although the police did investigate Rebecca's boyfriend, no evidence against him was found, and her death was officially ruled a suicide. Eleanor was then raised by her mother's family. So, let's review the facts. Eleanor Carter lost both her parents to Monster World, directly and indirectly. She would go on to launch a crusade against them, both publicly and in secret through dealings with a mysterious hacker group. She effectively turned public opinion against the company, rocking them to their very core. And then she vanished, without a trace. Monster World has not responded to rumors of their involvement, and investigators have yet to find any direct evidence connecting them to the disappearance. Still, considering what they have lied about before, Monster World remains a suspect in the eyes of many. This is Johnny Midnight, signing off.
I was born a monster without my feet and face, with nothing to lose, covered with scars left there by the human race. How does it feel to be the one in pain? Don't you fear the monster that's inside us all? It's a killer, and you're the one who's chasing you. You can't escape, not even in your next door neighbor's yard, 'cause it lives there too.